It's not all ladies tonight. We also have a man, and what a man he is. He's the star of the award-winning Lost. It's Naveen Andrews. That's a good-looking hunter man. Hey, Naveen. Now, I don't know if you've been watching Lost, but if you haven't seen Lost, it's that old traditional man meets woman, plane crash on island, polar bear, time travel, undersea kingdom, monsters that look like smoke. Can we rewind? I didn't quite follow that happily ever after love story. Or is it? It's confused. I'm confused, Naveen. Can you help me sort it out?
I'm confused.
Oh. Well, if you're confused and I'm confused, we're never going to find out what happens.
No, we won't. Not until the end.
But it's nice to have you here. I'm loving the hair.
This?
Yeah.
It's all I've got.
Is it a natural curl or is it a permanent?
It's natural.
Oh, that's it.
Used to be straight until I was 13.
And then what happened?
I became pubescent. Everything changed.
But we all went through that. My hair didn't suddenly curl up.
Not the same man as I am.
I feel very second rate now, I'll be honest with you. Thank you for joining us. Lovely to have you, Mr. Naveen Andrews, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking forward to meeting you. Shall we get my next guest out? Yeah. Please welcome Mr. Naveen Andrews. Nice to see you. I like what you're wearing. It's a great look you got there.
Thanks very much.
All right, hey, congratulations on Lost. It's been a huge hit, and deservedly so. I got hooked at the beginning, and then I kind of got a little bit... I thought, well, they don't know what they're doing. They're making this up as they go along, and I kind of lost interest, and then I'm hooked again now. So it's been very cleverly done. Do you think... Did they know what they were doing from the beginning, or have they sort of made it up a little bit, do you think?
I had exactly the same thoughts as you have. I thought at the beginning we were on track. Like the first season, I'm still proud of.
Dynamite. I was hooked from the first episode.
Yeah, and then around about the end of the second, definitely the third, you know, I think they were winging it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I think it's because they didn't have an end in sight. In America, it's almost as if they have a cash cow, they just want to keep flogging it and make
So
as
they
much
didn't know
money as
how long
possible.
they have to keep this going for.
Yeah, and now they do have an ending in sight. You know, they can keep the quality up. At least they should do. If they don't, there's no excuses there.
And so you say they have an ending in sight. When is it going to end? When is the... Did you know when the final episode will be?
Well, we've shot half the fourth season, and we've got 2 more years, definitely.
So you'll be going to the end of... So it'll be season 6?
Yeah.
And then all the answers will be there for people who've been following it
They
so
bloody
far.
well should be.
Yeah, because man, it's confusing. And are you confused as well on filming?
I'm confused when I'm actually on set. You know, I mean, sometimes, literally, we get the script sometimes 2 days before we shoot it, and that can be incredibly frustrating.
And you shoot it in one of the beautiful islands in Hawaii, I believe, don't you?
Oahu, yes.
And that's one... How many islands are there? Lots of Hawaiian islands? I'm pretty ignorant of Hawaii.
Oahu, the Big Island, Maui, Kauai, and there's another little one as well, which I haven't been to yet.
And so I've never been to Hawaii. It's long with a dream one. One day I want to go there. Is it a beautiful place to be? Is it nice to...
It is beautiful, and the people are great. So, you know, it's an American state, but of course it's not America, is it? You know, it's like 2,000 miles from LA. But I have to say, again, for the first 2 seasons, we couldn't believe our good fortune, but then it does become like a job.
Yeah, I guess so. Now, I was thrilled to see you in it because I remember seeing you years ago in, and do you remember this show? It was a kind of a mini-series, The Buddha of Suburbia, which was just I loved the book when it came out. I really loved the series as well. And it was a great thing. And then you kind of disappeared, it seemed to me, for a while.
After that, what happened to me? I think I ended up in the Funny Farm for a bit, and then the next job I got was The English Patient, which is probably about a year later.
So it wasn't that long ago. So hold it. So so what happened? Was it because of Buddha Suburbia that you went off the rails, or?
No, I was just kind of out of control at that point, I think, you know.
What was it? Was it drugs? Was it booze?
Yeah, it was both, actually, yeah. But, you know, it took me... I mean, I continued to work, but I've been sober 5 years now, so it took me a long while to, like, actually ditch it.
So you've given it all up?
Yeah.
So you were a real boozer, were you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because a lot of actors, I guess, you know, there's quite a lot of waiting around on the job, there's quite a lot of socialising involved as well. I guess it's something which you can get away with, more so than in the real world, so to speak.
Yeah, and, you know, I think there's a lot to do with growing up in England as well, in London.
So you were drinking too much, I guess, and you were enjoying yourself, is that right?
I think I was enjoying myself up to a point, and then, you know, it all turns... it turns on you, if you like, stops working.
And so you actually were in a clinic, something like that?
I did go rehab in LA, yeah, 5 years ago, but not over here. Here it was like, it was almost like people, in that time, wasn't a problem, you know, even though you were visibly in that condition.
But you were a younger guy then, of course, and when you're younger, I think you can kind of absorb more of that kind of punishment.
You can take incredible abuse, you know, and still work, it seems, you know.
But did it not affect your working? I mean, did you feel that you were... Did you ever make a movie or do a big part where you were drinking a lot or doing drugs a lot? Was that... And can you see that in your work from that period?
No, I can't. I actually collapsed in a job in Toronto in about '97.
And was that for booze?
By that time, it was just booze, yeah. And then I knew, you know, that I couldn't keep going in the same way. But I still thought that I didn't have a problem.
So, Naveen, so what, you were drinking during the day while you were filming?
At that time, yeah.
And would you do it secretively, or would you openly be drinking while you were on a set?
When I was younger, it was open, you know, which is suicidal, really,
It's
isn't it?
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it was out of control.
You were into heroin as well, weren't you, for a while? How many years do you think you lost to heroin?
2 years.
2 years?
Again, I was able to work, you know, and
It's remarkable.
somehow... Well, again, when you're young, you can do that sort of thing. I mean, I don't know how I did it.
Wow. And this was when you were back in India? You were filming over in India, or this was over here?
Over here, and of course in India you can get hold of the pure stuff, can't you?
So that must be even worse if it's the best quality, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it was, what was it? It was Kama Sutra, I think I was doing out there.
Oh, yeah, I heard about it. This is a movie based, of course, on the famous, I guess it's a...
Supposedly,
a
it was just an excuse for, like, shagging
I think
on
that's a still from you in Kama Sutra there. So there you would have been...
Loincloth.
You would have been out of it on something, probably.
Well, happily, that character was like an opium addict and a drunk, so, you know.
So you sort out the parts like that and said, yeah...
Give me that part!
Yeah, I can play a junkie, no
Please.
problem. And so how did you get... I'm fortunate enough not to have had anyone close to me get addicted to heroin, so I've only seen it on TV and movies, that kind of path of people going. And sometimes you see it in films and it seems fairly easy to get over. Sometimes they you know, it seems to spend weeks and they're shivering and sweating in the room. I've got no idea what the reality is.
3 days.
And is it as awful and as traumatic an experience as it's made out to be?
Yeah, if you're sick, yeah, it's awful. But it is 3 days. I mean, alcohol withdrawal was much worse. You know, and what the kids would, like, take today, you know, Oxycontins and things like that. I mean, it's like a 9-day withdrawal.
Oxycontins? That's a spot cream, isn't it? What is Oxycontins?
It's synthetic heroin.
Oh, God.
You know, so there are much worse things around.
It's pretty
these
scary,
days.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's awful.
And so you went to a clinic, you got out of it, or you went to a group that had it, or did you have psychiatric help? How did you... And when did you decide, OK, I'm going to put this behind me? Was there a turning point?
Yeah, I drove my son when I was drunk through Topanga Canyon, you know, and he was scared. And that was the point that I decided to go into rehab. Yeah.
You know, that makes perfect sense to me, because there are certain points in your life when you see the effect it may have on other people, or you see it in their eyes, people who are close to you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, do yourself in by all means, but don't harm anybody else.
And I understand that Steve Jones of the Sex Pistols was instrumental. You became friendly with him and he kind of helped you...
Yeah. He says hello, by the way. I spoke to him
I don't really know him. I just saw him on stage recently. I'd love to meet him.
You were in a mosh pit down at Brixton Academy, weren't you?
I was there with the Pistols, that's right.
Yeah, I met him at a dinner party at this photographer's house, Greg Gorman it was. And he was my hero, Steve, you know, since I was 15, you know, as a guitar player. And I noticed during the course of the evening he wasn't drinking or smoking anything. Yeah, and I was drunk, you know, so I wanted to be polite, you know, and I remember questioning him about it. And he said, no, I don't take anything, nothing. And he told me how long he'd been sober. And that was the first time that I thought, oh, my God, if he can do it,
yeah.
you know, then maybe I have a chance.
Yeah.
You know?
So you kind of wanted to get over it, but you just didn't think necessarily you could achieve it?
Yeah, you just don't think it's possible. You just think, by that point, 29, I had to get sober, but I didn't know for the life of me how to do it. No.
And what a great chance meeting to have, though. Who would have thought that Steve Jones of the Sex Pistols would be your saviour?
Well, he did say God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
His woodwork to perform.
Is this true that the two of you backed Sir Cliff Richard?
Sir Cliff, yeah.
Right. Now, that's something that I find hard to picture, to be
No, I mean, it's almost perfect, isn't it, really? Steve Jones, you know, me, and Sir Cliff.
Sir Cliff, yeah. Did he think, OK, here we've got two people who've given up all the bad things in life, I can get them over to Christianity quite easily now. Did he try and drink it?
We didn't think he was going to turn up. We honestly thought on the day, because I think he thought Steve was going to take the piss out of him,
yeah.
you know, and you know, because of the Pistols' history and who he is.
Yeah.
And he turned up, and, you know, we'd rehearsed all the songs, And we did sort of stuff that wasn't so well known, stuff from like the early 60s, just before the Beatles came in and blew the Shadows away or whatever.
So you did Cliff and the Shadows type stuff. So you were jamming, he was singing.
Yeah, he was playing as well. He had a Gibson SJ200, you know, that he was very proud of. He was so sweet.
And what songs did you do? Can you remember any?
Like an innocent. Well, Talk to Him was one of them. Move It.
Move It, oh yeah. So good twangy guitar sounds.
Bachelor Boy.
Well, did you think, OK, this could work, we could go on tour? Would you like to... are you a frustrated rock star, do you think, Naveen?
Well, I did that before I ever went to drama school.
So you were in bands and stuff?
Yeah, but with my predilections, I don't know if I would have survived, really.
Well, I think it's a tailor-made fit there. You'd have to come through the other side, but that's the way it goes. What were the bands you were in? What were the name of the bands?
The Whores of Babylon.
The Whores of Babylon, featuring Sir Cliff Richard. You see, it works. OK, let's talk a bit more about Lost then, because I'm dead keen to see how it turns out. But one of the things which I think they made some surprising decisions is sometimes you follow a character, you really get into a character, and boom, they take that character away from you. And it seems to me that they do it deliberately, of course, but they make some odd choices. Are you surprised at the people they've killed off? And are you guys given a fair warning? Do you know in advance how much longer you've got in the show if you're...
It's always very brutal and strange when they get rid of a character, because you've grown to have relationships with them, and for the life of me, especially with Dominic, you know, at the end of last season, I couldn't see why.
And it must have been nice for you to have him there, because of course you're two Brits on the show together. There must have been a bond between the two of you for that reason.
I mean, what we shared was Alan Partridge, you know, our complete obsession with Alan, and none of the Americans knew what we were talking about. I mean, they looked askance at us all the time.
And how would you... And so Alan Partridge helped you get through the difficult times?
Well, yeah, it's a great way of expressing rage or, you know, frustration in a humorous way without offending anybody.
So what, just by saying, do you remember that scene, or you do Alan Partridge? What
well, you just be on the middle of the beach sort of shouting, "You don't remember me, do you? Do you?"
And what do the Americans working with you? Because presumably they're not that familiar with Partridge. What do they make of it when you start going, "You don't remember"?
I think they felt a little left out. So I mean, you know, it was like a sort of in-joke that they weren't part of.
Oh, he's back on the sauce. It starts back again on Sky One this Sunday. You're in it for another 2 series and a half, you think? That's if they don't kill you off. I guess you don't know. Are they gonna...
No, they could make up anything, couldn't they, and kill you off.
How nice to meet you. It's a great pleasure having the show, and continued success with Lost and all your other projects. Ladies and gentlemen, Naveen Andrews.
Thank you.
I think that was great. I'd love to hear you jam with me, Cliff. I've got to say,
it was really good.
I'm not no acting. It's peculiar, but I like it. Thank you so much. Naveen Andrews, ladies and gentlemen.